Hello students, today we are going to learn about China and Japan with respect to imperialism. As a quick review, imperialism is when a large country takes over a smaller, weaker country. Now, in China at the time, one of the first places to start with is something called the Opium War. Now, opium is a drug, it's a habit-forming drug that was initially sold for a very long time in the Western world. And when places like Great Britain and the United States realized it was a bad thing to sell to the public, it got people addicted, it was not good for you, the manufacturers of opium still wanted to sell it somewhere. So especially in Great Britain, they started shipping the drug to China. Now, there were Chinese people that got addicted to opium, and the government of China tried to stop this. They said, stop selling your powerful addictive drugs to, our people. And Great Britain actually went to war with China and won, and then continued to sell that drug in China. Now that's an example of an imperial power, Great Britain, taking advantage of a smaller, weaker power at the time, China. So they didn't have direct control, but they did do things that helped benefit and make the parent country richer, and it was definitely something that was detrimental to the weaker country at the time, which was China. In a similar fashion, there was the Boxer Rebellion in China, where a lot of Chinese wanted to kick out American and Western influence, and the United States goes to war, and they win, and then they continue to influence China in ways that are negative to China, but at the time were very positive to Great Britain. So I'm going to keep going. And now we're going to talk about what happens in Japan, because Japan is a very interesting case. Now, I'm going to skip through right to here. So Japan initially was a closed off island nation, and they were pretty much by themselves for a very long time. And in the 1850s, a guy by the name of Commodore Matthew Perry from the United States sails to Japan and opens it up and starts selling American and Western goods to the Japanese. Now, Japan kind of realizes that they've been left behind a little bit technologically, and they rapidly transform themselves into their own global power. This is called the Meiji Restoration, and it starts in 1867. And they reform themselves to the point where they are competing with the Western world. And essentially, Japan is so good at emulating the Western world and getting culturally advanced that they actually go to war with Russia in 1904. Now, a lot of people are watching this war, and they think Russia, which was an imperial power and had taken over other parts of the world, they think Russia is going to win. Well, it turns out Japan wins the war and totally destroys the Russian fleets that were off the coast of Korea. They win all these major battles, and then the Russians are defeated. And when this happens, the Western world, that's Great Britain, the United States, Spain, Germany, all these places are like horrified that this small, weaker power has suddenly risen up and become a just economic and military powerhouse in the world. And they actually gain a lot of respect, and Japan actually starts to take over. And I'm going to keep flipping here until I can show you. Japan actually starts to take over and imperialize other parts of the world as well. So I know this map is a little blurry, but Japan's up here, and it actually starts to imperialize other countries around it. So Japan really kind of takes off